just said where I'm
Here's my
from.
audience. Just say your name.
I'm Sheila McCain.
This first name.
Darnell.
Theresa.
Okay, family. Thank you for being a part of my speech. I'm not going to introduce myself because I think you all know who I am. Well, for the YouTube world, I will say my name is Darnell Cole. If you don't know, I'm taking a class on public speaking, and for our first assignment, we were giving the task of picking 3 songs that describe us. Now, for me, this is kind of difficult because for people that know me, I've never really been much of a music fan. I do have a love for music, like I like to sing in the choir and I like to play an instrument, but I've never been somebody that idolizes artists. So I've never been one to say I want to be Lil Wayne or I want to be Jay-Z or somebody like that. But in my recent past, I went through a difficult situation, and I attribute me being able to get through that situation because of music. So I appreciate music a lot more now. So I chose 3 songs that represent the loving, driven, and spiritual aspects of me. You guys know this song? What's the name of it?
It's a Charlie Wilson song.
Dad, know the name of this song?
I can't place it. I know the music. I know.
I know, it's a Charlie Wilson song.
Okay, this song is called "Cause I Love You" by Lenny Williams.
Oh.
Oh, I thought it was Charlie Wilson. Okay.
And what side of me do you think this represents? The spiritual side, the driven side, or the loving side?
More the loving side, isn't it?
Exactly, the loving side. So I like to consider myself more of a lover, not a fighter. If I can, I choose to solve situations by speaking in a more amicable way. So I usually, if violence comes a part of any situation, it's definitely a last resort. The type of love that he's talking about, I can relate to. I've been in a relationship where I wanted to cry because the love hurt so bad, or felt like I couldn't live with the other person, or live without the other person. So I can definitely relate to the type of love that he's talking about. Other aspects of the song that I can relate to are the extreme ups and downs, which is kind of like my life. Sometimes it's going really, really well, and then other times it's going really, really bad. There's usually no in between for me. And then his unique interpretation of the song. A lot of people refer to me as unorthodox. I usually can accomplish many things, but the way that I get to my goals is different from most. So I'm okay with being unorthodox as long as I'm efficient. And then that song leaves a lasting impression on people. And I try to, when I meet people on first impression, I try to, when I walk into the room, have them be able to think of me. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative, but at least I know when I leave the room, people are still thinking about me. I leave an impression when I walk out. What about this song? Anybody recognize it? Come on, I thought you guys were more music fans
No,
than
not
me.
that. No, I love music, but
This is "Successful" by Drake.
Oh.
And what side of me would you think that this represents? The driven side, the
driven
spiritual
side.
side? Of course, the driven side. So I'm a little biased to this song because one of my favorite artists is Lil Wayne. I think I appreciate his music a lot because he's very unorthodox, but he's efficient at producing music, at becoming, coming to the top of the music charts. But he did things his way, so I relate to him as an artist. I like this song because it talks about determination to be successful, and that's the point in my life where I am now, where I'm very determined about being successful. Money, cars, clothes, those are things that I want. And in my past, I kind of felt uncomfortable striving for those things because I felt that striving for physical things would not allow me to be faithful to God, or maybe that I was living for the wrong purpose. But I read a book, thanks to my father, by Joel Osteen, called "You Can, You Will." And in that book, it talks about committing to success, committing to excellence, and doing anything and everything you can do to the best of your ability. And he talks about when you go out, present yourself in the best way, wear the best clothes that you have. If you're just mowing the lawn, do that to the best of your ability. So I took that to heart, and that's something that I live by. Another quote by Drake is, "I want things to go my way. As of late, things been going sideways." I think we can all relate to that we want life to go a lot smoother, but It's not really life for things to go smooth. You know, there's gonna be bumps in the road. The last song, I hope you guys can guess this one. By R. Kelly.
Hi.
Thank you. And what side do you think this represents for me?
You spiritual?
The spiritual, the last side. I like the song because of the visualizations. He says, I think about it every night and day. I see me running through that open door. His lyrics give you a way to visualize what he's trying to talk about. And that's important when you're trying to achieve goals. You know, I read a couple of self-help books and they talk about putting your vision in front of you. The more you see it, the better you'll be able to achieve those goals. I appreciate his willingness to be open and tell his story. He talks about some of his situations that he went through and had to overcome, and he sounds genuine when he speaks about them. I think this song also talks a lot about faith. And a quote by Martin Luther King Jr., and I'll read it, is, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. So I think this song kind of speaks to that you got to take the first step to achieve certain things, even though you don't know exactly how you're going to reach those goals. Taking the first step will allow you to obtain them. I also like the technique that he uses. In the beginning of the song, he talks about, I believe I can fly. Then at the end of the song, he started repeating that I can fly. So he's no longer believing, but he's more bought into the belief that he can fly. So all of these songs basically represent me. They represent the loving, driven, and spiritual sides of me. And I'd like to leave you with a quote by R. Kelly. If I can see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I live by this motto, and I hope that you do also. Thank you.
Very good. Very good.